Good morning. My name is Jayshree Naidu, and I'm the CEO of YIDI, which is an entrepreneurship development organization, and we get to work with amazing entrepreneurs on a daily basis. We have an exciting lineup of speakers this morning, and later on, we also get to meet some of the applicants of the IBM Business in a Box CoHort 2. I'm just going to start sharing the speaker profiles. And first up, we have Mr. Gift Lubela. Gift is the COO of CoHort, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about his organization as well as his journey on the IBM Business in a Box program. Gift, over to you.
Thank you very much, Jayshree. I wanted to, firstly, I think, congratulate every single person that's now part of the program. And also, just, I think, thank you, Jayshree, for having me. I'm Gift. As Jayshree mentioned, I am currently serving as a COO for CoHort. CoHort is a tech company that essentially works on improving the efficiency and profitability of the waste value chain in emerging markets. So what that means is we work hand in hand with waste producers, waste companies, as well as informal waste pickers in digitizing their operation, in collecting data, in analyzing the data, and helping them make more money. I think for me, I want to start by firstly saying that this program is one of the most, I think, practical programs, particularly for starting up, or rather, SME that are in the just after the MVP stage and just after the ideation space, and they want to now look into commercialization. I think for me, this program was very, very practical, and there's a few pointers that I have here that I want to touch on that would emphasize what I am talking about. But maybe before I start doing that, I also want to encourage every single entrepreneur who's now part of this program to really, question yourself and understand why you're part of this program. And I say that because I've seen and heard a lot of entrepreneurs who were part of a program, and at the end of the program, they start, saying things like, "Oh, that program was not as useful to me, and I didn't, get much value." And you will not get much value if you do not know why you chose or why you wanted to be part of this program. So that's the first thing. Before you start any program, you need to really understand why is it that you are part of it and what is it that you're trying to achieve. Because if you have those, it even makes it much easier for people like Jayshree to come in and help you in achieving that very specific goal that you have in the program. Second to that, I want to say that it always, at least for me, that's what I learned in this program. It always goes back to the fundamentals or the basics, and the basics, in my opinion, is two things. Firstly, your business model. Secondly, your value proposition. And this program, I think for me, has even went as far as looking at the individual entrepreneur behind the startup. A lot of the programs that I have seen, and some actually been part of, they specifically look at just the startup, and very little of these programs, look at the entrepreneur. I think this program is perfectly well defined in bringing focus on the entrepreneur, himself or herself as well. And I say that because fundamentally, IBM as well as Jayshree, they are very much interested in not only developing good businesses but also developing good There's a bit of echo from my side. I think, oh, there we go, much better. So as I was saying, that a lot of these programs mostly focus on the startup and not necessarily the entrepreneur. But this program is, in my experience, it's very different, and it focuses on the entrepreneur as well. So it looks at you, and Jeshri is there as well as the ED team to really try and assist the entrepreneur and give you very practical, reasons and very practical ideas of how you could progress in your company. I want to share quickly just our story and how this program really helped us. When we came in the program, we were just exploring, a different set of business of a business model, and we specifically wanted to target waste companies in helping them, digitize their operation and helping them be more efficient in their operation. And in many cases, as an entrepreneur, you would be it's very easy to get stuck in the, nice to have of your product, in the features of your product, in, what your technology is able to do. And you can go into this really, deep, dark hole of focusing predominantly on what your current solutions capabilities are, and then forget the important question, which is, what value are you providing to your customer, and how are you making money? Are you making traction? And I think when we started, we were mostly looking at, how do we really grow the product? How do we really, just, I guess, build more things of the solution? And I remember having one of the sessions at Yidi, and they took us through the business model canvas. And I knew what the business model canvas was, and I'd heard about it and I'd studied at some point. But I think when I went through the program and I spoke to Jeshri, they gave us some really practical advice on how important it is to really define your business model. And they also helped us understand the value that we could provide in the market, and the value we could provide for our customers. And what's quite interesting is, IBM is also part of this. So part of the benefits that you're getting is not only from from the Yidi team. You also get exposure to amazing resources from IBM, amazing resources that, Jeshri has worked with before, from a legal point of view, from a financial point of view. And all of these things, as an entrepreneur, when you're starting, they may not look as important. You might think, what I need to just do is get clients, but understanding things like legal, understanding things like finance for your operation, understanding things like, your product cost, breaking it down, those things were very important. And I think they are some of the things that made us go back to the drawing board. And I can tell you now that the business model we had before entering the program and what we have after is entirely different. And we have learned so much by being part of this program. And I think in closing, Jeshri, I don't know if maybe I still have time, but I wanted to open it up as well for a few questions, maybe one or two, for people, for individuals attending this. But in closing, I wanted to say that when you're part of this program, it doesn't end after you've graduated. What I've really appreciated about the Yidi family, and I guess and IBM as well, is the fact that they don't, I guess, train you and then leave you. They train you and keep you in the ecosystem, which is very, very important. And what that does is it continues to build you. So, Jeshri, in many cases, shares a lot of opportunities, and she shares it with different cohorts that went through the program. She shares these opportunities on an ongoing basis, and I think that's quite unique, because programs have a timeline. You have a program that you go to for 3 months, and then after that, you are done with it. and you will meet whoever sometime in the future and once off. But this program, even after you've graduated, you are still in the ecosystem. I mean, some of the people that I went to, or my cohort, we're still talking, and there's value that's being exchanged amongst us as we're talking. And for me, that's really important. Maybe let me stop there, Jeshri, and see if there's any questions, maybe one or two, if time permits.
Thank you so much, Gift. Time definitely permits. I'll take one or two questions. If you can raise your hands and then unmute once I call your name, if there is a question or two for Gift. We're opening it up, Gift. I can't see any hands go up, or you could just unmute and I will then mention your name and then you can ask your question. Gift, it seems like individuals are either camera shy or sound shy, but I really appreciate your positivity. You know, the more you put into a program, the more you get out of it. And it's been an amazing journey working with you, Gift, and watching you grow. Gift hasn't shared, but he's also an award-winning entrepreneur, and his company has won several local and global accolades just in the last couple of months. So congratulations on all of those as well, Gift. And I wish you well over the festive season, and thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jeshri. I really do appreciate you having me. I think there's something interesting that I forgot, and I would like to quickly mention is something that Jeshri once said in one of the sessions, to say, first of all, this year has been a really interesting year, with COVID happening and so many other things that were affected. Someone mentioned that as an entrepreneur, particularly starting a business, it can get a bit difficult financially speaking, and we should never underestimate what we are able to do. So as an entrepreneur, there are certain things that you are really good at that you might think this is not a business. So things like creating posters, creating websites and a bunch of other things. Those things you could monetize to get some additional, little revenue that will help you as an entrepreneur. And I certainly started doing those things this year, most specifically for survival as an entrepreneur. But also competitions are a very good, way of getting some funding, but also a very good way of getting some exposure and credibility. You just must be very careful of competition hopping. You should not move from one competition to another with no end goal. When you enter a competition, you should know exactly why is it that you're entering a competition. And for us, it's mostly been to get some form of funding. And we actually have gotten quite significant amount of money this year by just entering competition and sharing with the world what we're able to do. Finance is really important when it comes to running a business, both for the company and for a startup.
Thank you so much for that, Gift. Gift, I see there's a hand up. It's from Kabiso. Please feel free to ask your question. You may unmute, Kabiso.
Thank you. Gift, I just want to ask with regards to competitions, how do you know which one is for you, and how difficult was it to raise funding through competitions? Because I know a lot of competitions, it's usually just 20,000, 50,000, whereas you're in a point where you need funding for like 200,000. So how do you navigate that type of problem? Thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, for us, we looked at industry. So our company is a green tech company. So we looked at any competition that speaks about, circular economy, that speaks about waste, that speaks about as well the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. You must always understand that even organizations that are hosting competition, they too have an objective. So if you are entering a competition about technology and it's sponsored by IBM also has objectives as why it's doing that competition. And you always want to align yourself with the objectives of the company or the organization that's hosting the event. So for us, it's mostly been, the green space. And we have raised a significant amount of money, almost 600K this year in competitions alone. And partly is we've looked at competitions that give significant amount of funding, and mostly they are global. In South Africa, especially local competitions, it's not often where you get a competition that gives, say for an example, $10,000, which is about 150,000 rands. It's very uncommon. And when they do happen, there's tremendous application, tremendous competition, which is fine. But what we've seen is globally, from a funding point of view, competitions that are in global in a global scale, they give more funding. I'm happy to share some of the competitions we've entered. So, for an example, one competition we entered was the BRICS, so Brazil, Russia, India, China, and the overall prize was $25,000, which is about 420,000 rands. And you're competing with all these different countries, so Brazil, China, and they're doing really interesting stuff. But what made us win is focusing on impact, and we actually won the overall competition, which was really interesting. And then we've also looked at another competition that was hosted by the Dubai Ministry, and it was specifically for investment. With that, we just got something like $10,000 as well in the business. And really, it goes back to what I said in the beginning, to say you must know why you do certain things. When you're entering a competition, you mustn't be entering a competition just because it's a competition and applications are open. You should be entering because you know what you need as a business and you're working towards that. And when you do enter a competition, sometimes you don't win. We've entered competitions and we don't even make it to the final, and that's fine. You should learn as well, and be very, very careful. Competitions want to see traction in a business. If you are just entering competition but you're not making progress in your startup, then you're wasting everyone's time. The reason we've also won is, although we are entering competition, there's actual work that we're doing. When you look at our traction, we've onboarded two paying clients, one in South Africa, the other one in Uganda. During COVID, we've secured five more pilots that we're doing in South Africa and other parts of the African continent, like Nigeria, as well as India. So much as you want to enter a competition and show people that you have a good solution, that your solution could potentially impact the world, you should show that it actually is impacting the world. You should show that we are actually having people who have this problem and we have a solution, and they are paying for the solution that we have built.
Thank you so much for that gift. I have a question on the chat as well. It's from Mika. Hi, Gift. Just wanted to know what aspect of the IBM Business in a Box you found most relevant or helpful for you and your business when you joined.
Yeah. So for me, it has been two things. The first one, it has to be legal. And legal goes beyond just, registering stuff and being compliant. Legal also goes as far as company structure and what that potentially means for the growth of your startup. So when we started, my team is very global. All of my co-founders are from different countries. All the team, as we speak, there's 4 full-time people, and all of us are from different countries. Cole is from Nigeria, Press is from India, Matthew's half American, half French. And when we started, we didn't even consider or really look at the legal side of things and what that could potentially mean for us from a scalability point of view. And I think this program, shined a light on the legal part of things, the structure, what having different co-founders from different parts of the world means from a regulatory point of view, but also from an opportunity point of view. So that's the first part. The second part is investment readiness. A lot of us, enter programs like the Business in a Box because you've heard Jeshri or someone say there's some funding that you could unlock from IBM. and we just assume that it's going to be, you know, as easy as creating a presentation or a pitch deck and presenting and then getting funding. It's actually harder than that. It's harder than that because there is some effort that is needed in preparing for investment. You need to really prepare for investment. You know, you need to have all the difficult questions answered, you know, from financial to product to customer to projections. All of those questions need to be answered before you even think of sitting in front of investors. And this program has really helped us do that. And we haven't yet raised money, but I think we are 80% ready to sit and really engage and answer questions, you know. And you should, when you're looking for investment, you should really know why and what that amount of money you're looking for is going to go toward. All of those things take time, and this program has perfectly assisted us in knowing that.
Thank you so much, Gift. I think you've answered everyone's questions. We've loved having you as always. And again, have a lovely afternoon further. And thanks for sharing your journey with some of our cohort 2 applicants. Take care, Gift.
Thank you, Jashri. Cheers.
So everyone, I'm just going to have a 5-minute comfort break. Please feel free to grab some water or a glass of or a cup of coffee or tea, nothing stronger. It's still very early on a Friday morning. So just a 2 to 3 minute comfort break, and we will resume in the next 2 to 3 minutes.
There we go. All right, so good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for the time, and thank you for your interest in IBM. You know, for us, we take these programs extremely seriously because for us, it is an important part of our investment protocol, but equally, we believe that it's an important part in your journey. And for us, we believe that it is important that both parties, both IBM and yourselves, work very closely together to try and maximize both your potential opportunities and your potential, but equally realize the true value of IBM in the market. And therefore, when we look at these opportunities, we see it as a journey whereby your success equals our success. And really, I applaud all of you for your interest in being involved, and I applaud you for really taking the step towards a remarkable journey which equates to growth and success. So we've been working for quite a while now with Jayshree and her team, and we've had, you know, a large amount of success. We believe that the program is extremely good, and we have no doubt that each of you will benefit through the program. We're looking to leverage both your capacity and your potential opportunities as we look for growth trajectory in IBM. Hence the fact of why we are interested in this program. For us, what we see is really two windows of opportunity. The first opportunity being that you could either become a reseller of IBM services or product, or the second part being where you utilize technology embedded into your solutions such that you have better leverage in the market as a go-to-market strategy. So really, we are looking forward to the engagement, and we believe that it's going to be a good and fruitful one. We are looking for short-term wins, but we're also looking for a greater long-term strategy in order to achieve good market growth. So what I'm going to do today is run through a little bit of IBM to give you a little bit of a flavor and context as to who IBM is and the magnitude of the company that you are working with. So from an IBM perspective, you'll see that on my cover slide that we are a company that is quite old, 109 years old. So we have been around for many, many decades. We are in a situation of where we've been at the advent of many different types of technology and inventions. And really, you are working with one of the world's leaders. So from this chart, you'll see that IBM has been at the cusp of a number of pieces of technology, whether it be the invention of the barcode, which creates efficiency, or whether it be through blockchain solutions, which allow people to process and know where the transparency is through A to Z in the supply chain, or whether it be in the form of data or cloud, or just general technology requirements. IBM's really been at the cusp of all of these things, driving forward both customers but also the market. Some of the challenges that we see people speaking about are these types of things, right? We're very costly. We think that, you know, before we get moving in the market, somebody else has overtaken us. You know, there's too much of data. We believe that business models are changing all the time, and the solutions to customers take a long time to roll out. And therefore, how do we actually keep up? So I'm pleased to say that from an IBM perspective, you know, we have a number of different areas that we work in. And later on, I have a chart which will show you all the different business opportunities for you within IBM, which I think is where I'd like you to hone in on to see where you think your area of requirement is and how do we work with you to grow your business, but also grow our joint market share. So this is a good illustration of the way we view the world. We are not a consumer-driven business, right? So I want to be very clear on that. We are not like, you know, an HP or a Microsoft or any of those types of companies that are after the consumer market. We're really a digital enterprise that focuses on enterprises. So we're looking for business-to-business type of transactions. We're looking for volume plays. We're looking for scale. And all of what we do in the world of technology has to add value to the end customer. And that for us is extremely important. So we're an enterprise-driven innovation company. Digital and AI forms a core portion of our business. And therefore, you know, as you look at digital data, AI, you cannot look at those in the absence of looking at hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud is extremely important as we grow our business, as we grow data sets, as we grow volume plays, and ultimately as we grow platform plays, because platform plays are extremely important as we traverse into the world of today and tomorrow, because it provides scale and it allows you to basically become embedded in a customer in order to grow your market share. So these are very, very important plays for IBM, and therefore we hope that you guys will leverage that journey in order to drive success. This for me, you know, I always show this chart because for me it is the core of what we do. You'll see that in order to provide a solution to a customer, I believe you need all of these ingredients, right? So you need agile innovation in the form of the way you work. You need proper business platforms and systems to allow you to be able to transact. You need a proper workflow which is forward thinking and allows for the embeddedness of both AI, you know, blockchain, IoT, all the exponential technologies in order for that to come through. And ultimately, in the world of 4IR today, everything is fueled by data. So for me, this is an extremely important chart, which really talks about the essence of what IBM does and how we play in the market. Now, you cannot have all of these discussions if you do not have a cloud discussion. And you cannot have that discussion if you don't have a security discussion, because your reputation and the value that you provide to the market is extremely important. And therefore, in the absence of proper security and proper leverage of scaling up and down, you cannot really add true value to your customer base. So that's very important. This is the chart that I want you to focus on, right? If we had to break down IBM in the simplest possible way, which is a very complex business, I would say this is the chart that you need to focus on. So when you look at services, you'll see that GTS for us is a services component of our business, which focuses on outsourcing, which focuses on break fix, and which focuses on maintenance. Because we also sell hardware, we have to provide backup maintenance to our customers for parts and otherwise. Then we have a consulting business whereby if a customer tells us that they have a problem and they're looking for a technological solution, we will get our consultants to basically understand what the problem is, analyze it, put together a blueprint around how to fix the problem, and then either the customer can go off and roll it out themselves in terms of a solution, or otherwise IBM has an end-to-end value proposition and we are able to do that. The third portion is really around our hardware business. We no longer sell computers and all of those types of devices, but what we do sell is high-end storage, servers, all of those types of things, right? Which is extremely important even in today's world, because there are many customers that look for both on-prem and off-prem type of solutions. Where they're looking for on-prem solutions, the hardware is still very important, especially things like the mainframe. However, with the advent of cloud and software, we allow people to work between both modes of on-prem and off-prem. And therefore, the cloud is a fantastic proposition because it allows us to provide flexibility, allows us to provide cloud credits, which give the right price points, but also allows scale. Because if you think about some of your customers, for example, in the retail space, when they approach Christmas, they have large transactions, large transactional volume, I should say. And therefore, the ability to scale up and scale down is extremely important. Now, all our exponential technologies that I spoke about earlier, whether it be in the form of all the 4IR plays, let's describe them, right? So whether it be a data play, whether it be an AI play, whether an AI stands for artificial intelligence, or as I refer to it, augmented intelligence, whether it be in the form of security, whether it be in the form of blockchain, whether it be in the form of robotics, whether it be in the form of IoT, whether it be in the form of, just general connectivity. All of those types of plays fall under our software division. So that's where I would imagine the bulk of your solutions would be fitting in. And therefore, we have a great discussion to be had because it provides a great amount of impetus in terms of value proposition and value offerings. Now, all of those 4 brands that I've just described, that is services, consulting, hardware, and then the last one being software and cloud, is essentially what you find in an IBM briefcase, because this is what we sell. Then we talk about the route to market. Now, all of you have the potential opportunity of working with IBM and becoming a channel partner. But in order to get you there, we need to make sure that you have the requisite skills, that you have the right route to market, that your products and services, whether you're embedding or you're carrying an IBM product, has the necessary skills and certification behind it. But you have the opportunity of becoming part of that channel as we go to market. And then global markets is really our development arm, right? So it's basically our business development, our commercial sector, which has a whole lot of customers. Now, I'll give you guys this because I think this is extremely exciting. In our global markets, we have another section called commercial. Under commercial, we have approximately 3,000 untapped clients where we are looking for channel partners to work with us in the right areas to go to those clients and meet their needs. It doesn't mean that I'm going to phone you and tell you, here's an order for you, please go and do X, Y, Z at the customer. What you have is you have a potential opportunity to go to a customer, introduce a proposition, solve a problem, work with IBM to find a solution. So that is extremely exciting. And then on the right-hand side of the chart is really all of our support structures that enable our business to operate. So we have a number of investments over and above all of this. We're a level 1 BE company. Under our enterprise development program, we have both EEIP and ESD, where we provide a lot of value to you guys. And then over and above all of this, we have a tremendous amount of knowledge learning that we can impart, right? Whether it be in the form of Digital Nation Africa, which is 4IR skills for free, whether it be through our skills development program, whether it be through our university program or otherwise. There's a great amount of value for you to gain from being associated with IBM. Now, over and above these investments, we also have something called a research lab. So earlier when I spoke about some of the inventions and innovations of IBM, right, all of those things stem from the research lab. We have now just added on an additional component called an IX Digital Studio. And that is co-located next to the research lab, because this provides for design thinking and it provides for end-to-end support. So when somebody has a concept, how do you build it out through design thinking and take it through all the different developmental phases to make sure that you have, in the end, a value proposition that is market ready and able to compete in the market because there is value. So these are some of the programs that I spoke about. Okay, you'll see that under EDP, for example, you know, we have 3 different phases. So you'll have an ideation phase, you'll have a startup phase, and you'll have a deep skills phase. Deep skills are really for mature businesses. Startups are for those that are in between, and ideas are nice, but they require a lot of work. For us, we are largely focused on both the startup and the acceleration phases, because we believe that that gives you benefit in the short term, as well as IBM, and therefore we're hoping to move opportunities along and do transactional business in the market. So, you know, there's a lot more that I could speak about, but I'd rather stop there and rather take any questions and have a discussion. So Jayshree, I'll hand back to you to facilitate any questions, or if there's anything else you want to talk about.
Thank you so much, Ziad. That was great, and I'm sure our candidates found great value in your presentation. So show of hands for any of you that have questions, and then I'll come to you, or feel free to put your question into the chat, and I'll read it out for Ziad. So some of our participants can be a bit voice shy or camera shy, Ziad, so we'll give them a minute or two to think about their questions.
No problem. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you can't be shy.
And believe me, while we have Ziad here, you want to ask your questions. He's not an easy man to get a hold of.
I try.
Okay, Ziad, it seems like, oh, there is a question on the chat. Does the TechScale program fall under? Yes, it does. I can answer that question. Actually, the IBM TechScale program is part of the IBM's EIP focus. So we have a question, Ziad. It says, thank you for the presentation. It was very informative. Where do you think most startups fail?
That's a fantastic question, you know, and I think it's something that we really need to spend a lot of time introspecting about. I think the first thing is that they're not looking to solve a problem. So they believe in whatever the invention is or whatever the idea is. And it's like your child, right? And I'm going to give you an analogy. The more your child tells you something, the more you start believing it. And it's the same thing that happens to us as individuals. The more we think about something ourselves, the more we start believing in it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But remember, the person that answers the question is not you and not your child. It's the market. So that's the question you need to ask yourself all the time is my value proposition as a business receptive in the market? Because those are the people that are going to be buying whatever you are selling, whether it be a product or a service. So therefore, startups, in my view, do not have the proper market definition and the proper value proposition, and they don't test that well enough before they hit the market, right? Or as they're traversing the market, because you don't have to wait, you know, to have everything 100% lined up before you enter the market. So I would say a blended approach is a good one. Make sure you understand your value proposition. Make sure you understand the markets that you are looking to enter into, so that people are receptive to whatever it is that you want to sell. And then over and above that, once you have your foot in the door, you have to make sure that you lead with integrity. Very important, because your credibility allows you to have a continued relationship. And therefore, all of these ingredients come together. So I don't think there is a simple one-line answer to your question, but for me, I think those are the most important aspects that you need to have in order to be successful.
Thank you so much, Ziad. I see we have a couple more questions. I think you've answered the one with this response. and that talked to what are some of the barriers as well. The next one is how do you link startups in the program with potential pipelines at IBM?
Okay, another great question, right? But before I answer this, let me just maybe make one more comment around the previous question. You know, generally people talk about two aspects, right? When they talk about barriers, they talk about, you know, barrier to entry being market access and funding access. Now, believe me, there is no commercial enterprise in this country that is just giving money away for free, right? And therefore, it is incumbent on each one of you to work hard, to have a detailed value proposition, to play hard and not feel sorry for yourselves. And I really mean this, right? Because you now have a great opportunity with IBM to refine whatever it is that you are working on. But you have to fight hard. You have to be front of mind. You have to make sure that you push the IBM ecosystem to take you seriously as we look for growth opportunities. So therefore, it is very important for us to make sure that as we look at, you know, the future potential pipeline, now moving into the next question, that your value proposition, that your skills and all of those things stack up in order for IBM to say, you know, I like this particular startup or this particular SMME because they have the credibility, they have the skills, they have the bandwidth, they have the ability to deliver. So when those potential opportunities present themselves, the question is, do you have your hand up and are you ready to be able to play? Very, very important. So equally, as much as you are looking at IBM, in reverse, IBM is looking at you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ziad. I'm going to actually close off there for questions. I do know there are some other questions on the chat. Applicants, we will get to some of those questions a bit later on. The one comment I would like to read out to you, Ziad, is Ziad has sold it. I feel fortunate to be in this program by seeing the value proposition from IBM as a company and the initiative at large. So I think that's a really great way to say thank you, Ziad, for your time and for presenting to our IBM Business in a Box Cohort 2. We really appreciate it and do enjoy your festive season.
That's fantastic. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm equally humbled and pleased to be part of this cohort. And please feel free to reach out and we will certainly try our best to try and connect with you because as I started, right, your success is our success. And together we need leadership and we need more people like yourselves to lead in the market because the legacy that we leave as leaders is the legacy for a brighter South Africa for tomorrow. So please do everything within your potential to make things better. So thanks very much and I wish you guys safety and good health and everything of the best. Jayshree, thanks for the opportunity. If there's nothing else, I'll log off now.
Thank you so much, Ziad. I really appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you everyone for staying with us this morning. If you've just joined us, we are busy with the IBM Business in a Box Technology Development launch. We have been joined by the COO of IBM, Ziad Suleiman, as well as an alumni, Gift Lubella. We still have some amazing individuals that we'll be hearing from this morning, as well as meeting some of the cohort to themselves. I'm now going to hand over to the program manager, Sunil McLeod. He's going to just spend a few minutes telling you a little bit about how the program is structured and the way forward as well. So over to you, Sunil.
Thank you, Jayshree. Welcome, everyone. Hope you're all well on this Friday. Are you all well? Okay, I'm probably going to see your show of hands on the chat box. So the IBM BIB Business in a Box program is a customized 5-14-day program, right? Developed for entrepreneurs that's transitioning ideally from corporate world into the tech startup space. The aspiring technology startups obviously go through a program that runs ideally for 3 months. And we assist you to develop entrepreneurial skills in various facets of business. Now, just to tell you more of what the program is entails, the aim of this program is to develop an average person into an entrepreneur through structural training. What we do through that is widen your reach of entrepreneurial skills to include the less privileged sections of society and make you become an entrepreneur by strengthening your abilities and allowing you to acquire more skills for fulfilling your roles as an entrepreneur. It was a brilliant definition also and description of what Nate alluded to as an entrepreneur. We aim to do that through this program, seen as a skills development program and as part of an EDP. If you all recall where we fit in IBM's EDP structure, the ED Business in a Box program ideally gives you lots of benefits, also looking at the of the discussions mentioned by the alumni. Now, why do we need to develop ourselves? It's simply a matter of looking at why do you need to be an entrepreneur. Now, entrepreneurs, whether they are inborn or made, needs training. This is also being described by well-known scientists. It's interesting to know that a scientist called David McLachlan has made this a strong point within his findings, that even though you're born with entrepreneurship skills, you still need to undergo training. And that's very, very true. That's why we offer you the training. And most of us are sort of learned, have gone through the mill and have acquired some sort of skills. But entrepreneurship development training is key. It gives you also the understanding of learning and educating yourself in various disciplines. So a business is a discipline and it works to achieve these objectives. Every business has its objectives, as we all know. This program will help you as an entrepreneur determine your objectives of your business and make you work as an individual within your business by achieving those objectives strategically. So as your business grows with time and it keeps achieving milestones, we also know that you'll become disciplined in working and achieving those objectives. The training that we offer helps you find, or helps us find like-minded people and make you become a professional as an entrepreneur. We know that you will develop the passion to become an entrepreneur, but this program cements that passion. It also helps you define your objectives in line with your personal objectives as a human being. Because we know that to run a successful business, you need to be a successful individual as an entrepreneur. We're also going to help and assist you to develop a wide vision about your industry, the competition, and the latest trends. And that's why this program is very much hands-on, as well as giving you the skills in both business as well as in technical aspects of your industry and your landscape, your competition and trend landscape. Is there any questions so far on the program? I'm just going to go in a nutshell and give you an overview. If there's any questions, you may raise your questions in the chat box. Okay.
Hi, Sunil. There's no questions yet on the chat box. I'm looking to see if there are any show of hands. It seems like we're fine for now, Sunil. You can wrap up.
Okay. Just to give you a high level of the modules, we're going to be looking at high level strategy and value proposition, financial literacy for small businesses, personal branding and marketing, that will be also led by one of our industry experts, compliance and BDE, legal matters, design sprint, and that's understanding design thinking, sales strategy, project management and agile, as well as the opportunity to develop pitch decks. We will then have a series of master classes, ideally delivered by IBM or by YIDI for that matter. I'm going to hand over to Jayshree if there's no other questions, but I thank you all for listening to us and look forward to working with you on the program.
So Sunil, there is a hand up from Eviwe. Eviwe, you may unmute and ask your question.
Hi everyone.
Hi, Eviwe.
I just want to ask regarding the program, is it always going to be digital, or there going to be times that we have to meet at a certain place?
I'll answer that. So most of the interactions will be digital. There will be
Sunil, you're just a bit soft. If you can just
Okay.
maybe be just a bit louder or get closer to your
Sorry
microphone.
about that. I'm going to get closer to my mic.
That's
Can you
better.
hear? I'd like to mention that the program will be delivered digitally, that is via online sessions. We'll ideally use programs such as Zoom. And most face-to-face interactions will take place at the YIDI offices in Sandton, which would ideally be once a month where possible. We'll obviously prescribe to the health and safety standards in compliance with workplace regulations for COVID-19. But yes, most sessions will be delivered digitally.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Sunil. I see there's another comment in the chat. It says, can we get all of this information in a presentation? Yes, Sunil will be communicating with all of the candidates of cohort 2 with regards to next steps, the framework of the program. So after the launch, we will be communicating with you. As Sunil mentioned, although the program is delivered online, we would love to see you and engage with you, especially for modules like strategy or innovation or design thinking. And we will then request that you come into the YIDI offices for those sessions, but there will be minimal face-to-face contact. So Sunil, thank you so much for that. And if there are no further questions, I'm going to swiftly move over to our last speaker for today before we meet some of the cohort 2 applicants. And that is Phakamiso Lazo. And Phaka, I'm going to hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Jayshree. It's Phakamile.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
It's all right. I know it happens. I know there's a thing with the name Phakamile because it's a Zulu name and a Xhosa name, and the Xhosa people, it's a guy's name, and in Zulu people, it's a lady's name, and there's Phakamile and Phakamiso and Phakamani. But yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Phakamile Hlazo, and I'm the founder of Zulu Nomad. Zulu Nomad is a social enterprise where we are leveraging digital and emerging technologies to enable African tourism and enterprise development at scale. It sounds like a lot, but essentially, Zulu Nomad started off as a tour operator. So we started off as a traditional business, and in late 2018, early 2019, we sort of realized the opportunity for scaling the business through digital technologies as opposed to the traditional sense of scaling a tour operating business in South Africa. This was largely driven through my own professional background. At the time, I was consulting as a change manager on some digital transformation projects in the finance sector, and it's really through exposure and in the implementation of digital transformation projects with corporates, I realized, oh shoot, there's actually a huge missed opportunity within the tourism industry as well, of which, as I'm saying, you know, we've been running as a traditional tour operator since 2016. And so our coming onto the program was a little bit different in the sense that I'm not a technical founder, so I'm not a software developer or anything like that. And I'd like to encourage anyone who's on the chat today. So, you know, the group of people that you're with, you guys are all going to have various skills, and it's very, very important to tap into the skills that are available within the cohort as well, because we all have different strengths. So my strength would be that I'm very well networked in the tourism space. I'm very well networked maybe with some government organizations. As I've said, I've done a lot of corporate work, so I'm good with putting together presentations and pitch decks and all these things. And I don't have software development skills. So maybe I want to talk to people within the program who are very, very good with the software development, who may be able to add some value to my thinking and guide me a little bit. And, you know, to reiterate something that Gift said earlier as well, it's not every single opportunity in life, guys, is exactly that. It's an opportunity. It's for you to take it and run with it and make the most of that opportunity. It's not just about, you know, finishing this program and 3 months down the line pitching to IBM and then you're going to sit and hope or think that you're going to get funded. It is honestly about making the most of every single session, whether it's virtual or in person. It's about networking. It's about speaking to everyone else in the cohort to understand how you can possibly add value to each other's solutions. Allow people to poke holes into your thinking. As Ziad said, you know, our startups are our babies. And when you've been focused so much on this one thing and getting it over the line, you do have certain blind spots. So definitely, guys, one of the biggest takeaways for me and one of the biggest things I'm going to leave you with is the network within the cohort. And so the other thing is then about within the network collaborating and giving each other leads. So Gift mentioned again, one of the things that we've done, you know, I don't know, I'm sure it's the same with the other cohorts, Jayshree. But with our Business in a Box cohort, we have a WhatsApp group. Again, it was set up by Yidi, and that group is so incredibly active. It's all about collaboration. It's all about leads. You know, sometimes, you know, it's not even about putting the lead on the group. If you know specifically that, oh, actually, you know, this is a potential lead for Ernest, for example. Ernest was a guy who was in our previous cohort. And I got a call from, again, a contact of mine who was looking for someone who's worked with medical machinery. And that's exactly what Ernest does. This was months after we were all done with the program, but I was able to reach out to Ernest and say, hey, Ernest, reach out to these guys. They're looking for someone with your skill set. And we do that for each other within that cohort and within that program. So don't look at each other as competition, because you're absolutely not. You're people who are there to lean on each other and learn from each other. And also, not everything is a success, right? So just because I've passed you a lead or I've organized a meeting because I have the ability to do so, doesn't mean that everything is going to happen instantaneously. Just because you finish the program and you have the opportunity to present to IBM, to pitch to IBM, it doesn't mean that everything is going to happen instantaneously. If you've been an entrepreneur for as long as I have, guys, patience is such a virtue in this space. Absolutely everything you go through, all of the challenges you encounter, look at those as growing experiences and look at those as an opportunity to build your network and to learn and to build relationships and see how you can add value and give back to other people's startups. And that always comes back to you in some shape or form, okay? So Gift mentioned that they've managed to raise quite a lot of funding through competitions and things. At Zulu Nomad, one of the big challenges that we had, so our reason for joining, and again, want to reiterate the fact that if you're on this program and you're unclear as to why, then you absolutely will not get any value out of it, right? So understand why you're in the program, understand what it is that you're trying to get out of it, and be patient with what is presented to you and take those opportunities of learning as well. So Gift mentioned that they've raised funding through competitions and things. And one of the problems that we had as, you know, a travel startup is that there's not a lot of travel tech in the South African market already. So it's not a very well understood sector as far as tech is concerned. And there's not a lot of money going into travel startups right now. The TIA, Technology Innovation Agency, is only last month released like a first program that's going to fund tourism tech companies, right? So we are a bit ahead of the curve, and therefore it becomes quite difficult to pitch or to approach investors who are very tech focused, because they're looking for health tech, they're looking for green tech, they're looking for fintech. Those are the hot tech products in the market at the moment, but it takes absolutely no value away from what it is that you're doing. It's about honing in on your expertise, focus on your sector, get to know the investors within your sector. And in my case, I've had to do quite a bit of education. Because a lot of the investors in tourism are very much traditional and very much focused on the old way of doing things. They're not aware of developing opportunities. So it's been my role to actually go out there and educate people. So we haven't had any funding from IBM. We haven't pitched to IBM. Again, if you guys saw Ziad's presentation, it's very technical. So it might not apply directly to your business, but what you do is you take everything that you've learned from the program and you go and you focus on your sector and you build those relationships and you pitch. You know, and that was one of the things that I enjoyed the most about the program, actually getting the opportunity to develop our pitch decks, to develop our 2-minute elevator pitch, etc., etc. It was only last week or in the last 2 weeks that Zulu Nomad has received funding for us to develop our MVP. And I'm talking about the MVP that, you know, every session we go into our program where we say, you know, I'm Pagamile Hlazo and I'm the founder of Zulu Nomad. At the time when our cohort joined, we were literally pivoting from being the traditional tourism enterprise into developing a marketplace. And as you guys all know, our first cohort graduated in March, and literally we went straight into lockdown. Putting a marketplace or developing a marketplace for the South African tourism economy didn't make sense. It literally, that whole idea was blown out of the water. And what I was then able to do was to lean onto fellow cohort members whom because we've been in the program together for 3 months, I understand their offerings as well. And I was able to say, oh, look, couldn't we try and apply your solution in the tourism sector? And we did that. And that's actually what's allowed me to be able to show traction. Because just because I haven't been able to develop the marketplace and show traction in the marketplace, again, going back to the idea of educating investors and educating people who are leaders in your sector on the possibilities for technology in the sector, it was very important for me to be able to show traction in some shape or form, and that we were able to do through the network that we've created within the cohort. So, as I've said, it was only really in the last week that we've been able to raise 800,000 Rand in funding for that initial marketplace idea that we had originally been pitching. But we've only been able to get to this point because we've been able to show traction through other initiatives and through other engagements and collaboration and partnering with people within our cohort who had skills that we didn't have within our team. And so I want to emphasize again, you've got to make the most of the opportunity. Nobody's going to hold your hand and you know, spoon feed you. You know, your startup is your baby. You know what, or you should know, you know what you need. And over time, as you learn, as you go through the program, every single session that we had, I got something. And I'm saying, you know, Zulu Nomad was already in existence since 2016. So we had a lot in our business already. We had a lot of learning in our business already. But every single session that we had, every engagement that we had through the YIDI program, we learned something that we're able to go back and implement into our business and tweak things, etc. And since then, we've been able to lean into and onto the rest of the cohort. I mean, when COVID hit, a lot of our businesses were in distress, you know, and we're able to go into that WhatsApp group and say, oh, hey guys, you know, I'm thinking of going back to work. And then Donovan will give you a call and like, oh, you know, I'm actually thinking the same thing. And it's very difficult. It's been a very, very challenging time for entrepreneurs these past couple of months. And for me, the program was one of those places, the cohort was one of those places where we knew for a fact that we would have support. Sometimes it's very difficult for your friends who are in corporate, for your family to really understand the entrepreneurial journey. If not anything, guys, please use and lean on each other. And grow together and see how you can add value in each other's businesses. It's honestly not just about the funding. I know that, again, we're all entrepreneurs, we all want funding, but it doesn't happen just like that. You've got to put in the work, and you've got to trust the process, and do the necessary tweaking that is required in your business for you to actually succeed. I don't know if there's any questions, guys.
Thank you so much, Parker. Please show of hands or use the chat function if there are any questions for Parker. And you can always unmute and I'll get to you as well. Okay, Parker, it seems like there aren't any questions for you unless they're still thinking about it. Let's just give them a second or two. And maybe while you guys are thinking about that, thanks so much for sharing, that quick little story about Donovan as well, Parker. And I know that the applicants, to share a little giggle with you, the applicants gave Donovan a very hard time for a couple of months, because Donovan told us a story about how he had to sell was it his Porsche, Parker, or was it his Ferrari? Porsche.
It was a Porsche.
It was a Porsche. So he had to sell his Porsche to become an entrepreneur. And, Donovan is one of those also very supportive entrepreneurs of the program and of other entrepreneurs. And we were so pleased just earlier a couple of weeks ago, in fact, we were able to link Donovan to an entrepreneur who's on another technology program sponsored by another technology client. And he's now doing installations of his smart film solution and Wi-Fi solution into computer labs for kids. So those linkages and access to markets happen all the time. And they may not come from just this program, but like Parker said, yes, we will be creating a WhatsApp group. We have so many WhatsApp groups. We have one for every single program that we run. But Parker will, as she said, we do communicate as frequently as possible on any opportunities that come to us, and we try and share that, and the entrepreneurs share amongst themselves as well. So Parker, I see there's a couple questions or comments on the chat. I'm going to open it up. Hi Parker, I just scanned through the TIA website. I know they have an age range of 18 to 30. Is this the case, or are they flexible given partners? I'm not sure if you know the answer to that, Parker.
I do actually, Jayshree. So with TIA, guys, it's dependent on the program that you're applying for. Like I'm saying, this is just a few weeks ago, it was the first time that they've actually released a tourism specific program, and that one goes up to the age of 35. But there was a lady within our cohort who is, probably as old as my mom, who is funded through TIA. So I think the age range that you're looking at the 18 to 30, maybe it's for a specific program or a specific initiative, but definitely TIA is open to people of all ages. I think it's just program specific. Definitely keep a bookmark that page and go back and look at different programs as they launch them.
Okay. So Parker, one of the questions we got, and we do have really good relationships with TIA. So if you are part of cohort 2, I will try, Sunil, just remind me to do this as well. I'll try and get someone from TIA to do a presentation on their offering and what they can actually support entrepreneurs with. So we will try and arrange that for cohort 2 as well. And maybe invite cohort 1, Parker, to attend that session as well. So Parker, how were you able to fund your business before the funding for so long?
So I mentioned to you guys that I was a change management consultant working on digital transformation projects, and the tourism business was a business that I was running at the same time. So since 2016 up until 2018, I was doing both. The business I had to run in a way where I had I grew a team that I knew I could rely on to execute the different experiences that we are offering to the market. And then we used my salary from my consulting work to fund both myself and the business and the team, and make it's not easy. You know, entrepreneurship, guys, is really, really not easy. It's probably the most difficult thing I've had to do. But you make do, right? Because you understand the bigger vision. You have a very clear goal that you're working towards. It's very, very important to always be intentional. Ziad was absolutely right, guys. Nobody is coming out and trying to help you for nothing. You know, every single corporate that is doing any kind of ED or ESD program, there's something in it for them, and it's about understanding strategically where you can add value and how you can then monetize that value that you're going to be adding. I see there's a question as well from Eviwe. Eviwe sent it to me privately, I think by mistake, and she says, if you're creating a software business, what traction can you have before an MVP? And I just want to clarify that. Remember I said we had come into the program with the intention that we wanted to develop a marketplace, and we left the program with the hope that we'd get an opportunity to pitch to IBM and get support to develop that marketplace. And then COVID hit and none of that happened. So we don't have a marketplace MVP at this point. However, what we did go and do was we partnered and collaborated with people who are within our program with us to develop another solution, a learning management system, over the past couple of months. And we've developed online courses targeted specifically at the tourism industry and entrepreneurs within the tourism industry. And that investors are able to see, oh, okay, so this is great. I can take the course. And so even though it's not the marketplace idea which we were pitching, it still shows traction because it shows we have a complete product. We have a solution that is actually out there in the market right now that young people are using and generating income for themselves and opportunities for themselves within the tourism industry because of that. So an investor, even though, like I'm saying, it's part of the education process that we've had to do with investors in the tourism sector who are not very au fait with tech or the opportunities that technology provides for the sector.
Thank you so much for that, Parker. I'm just going to leave you with one more question, and then in the interest of time, let's see which one we should choose. There's a couple on the chat. How do you stay positive in these difficult times? Let's end with that.
Sure, guys. Being an entrepreneur is hard. Being an entrepreneur is very, very hard. It's honestly so important to have a very good support system. It's also important to be very open and honest with the people around you. So to go from, I don't know how many of you guys are coming from corporate, you know, where you had a salary. As Jayshree's mentioned, Donovan had to sell his Porsche. You have to make the very difficult decisions if you believe in the business that you are building. And so for me, the advice would be to be in a positive space. Surround yourself with people that you can be honest with about your situation. Oh, hey guys, it's very difficult maintaining friendships with people who are receiving a salary every single month and wanting to go out for dinners and go out for outings and things like that, things that you were very comfortable doing before, but now you're putting money into your business, right? You have to refocus. And so it's very important for you to be very open and honest with the people around you to say, okay guys, so I'm not going to make it, you know, to any of these really great get-togethers. I'm not going to have the money to spend on that because I'm putting the money into the business. Equally important to have those conversations with our families, especially with us as African people, where we're taking care of our families as well. I mean, one of the most difficult things for me, honestly, was having to go from a place of, you know, I've got all this surplus money and I get to spend money on my mom. I bought my mom a car a couple of years ago. Like, we've just been having such a great time. to, oh no, mom, it's really tough. And, people don't understand, like, what do you mean? You don't have any money anymore. But it is what it is. And it's just important to be very honest so that you don't have that additional stress on yourself as well. Keep the relationships open, and lean on other entrepreneurs as well. Again, your friends in corporate, your family might not understand. It's very important to have entrepreneurs who are in the same boat as you, whom you're going to be able to pick up the phone and say, oh, hey, things are really not going well. And take the advice that they give you. Sometimes it is very difficult to hear. I think the COVID-19 pandemic was a complete headspin for everyone, every single entrepreneur out there, because you've put your 100% into this business and now like it's gone type of thing. But for me, it's about checking in with the network, making sure that you've got people supporting you, that you're honest with your family and your friends about the situation that you're in, and you ask everyone for their patience. It is, if you do the right things and you're intentional about your business in every single way, you will eventually succeed. It's not going to happen overnight, but you will eventually succeed.
Parker, thank you so much. I mean, that was an amazing way to end your presentation. I really appreciate your time. I know there were lots of other examples where you've also collaborated with other entrepreneurs on the program. So thank you for that ongoing support to other entrepreneurs as well. And we look forward to you, growing your business and being successful. And I'm sure we'd love to get you in to at least deliver maybe a quick talk to this cohort as well, once we do run our online sessions. So thank you for your time. Enjoy the festive season, Parker.
Thank you so much for having me, Jayshree. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful holiday season and enjoy the program. Please, please, please make the most of it. It honestly isn't about getting cash at the end of the day. You're going to be disappointed if that's what you're looking for. Make sure that you're intentional, learn as much as you can, and build the network that you need to grow the business beyond the 3-month program.
Thanks, Parker.
Thank you, Jayshree.
So we've come to that part of the program now where we get to meet some amazing individuals that are part of cohort 2. I'm going to be calling your names when we come to the end of me calling your names, and if you haven't had an opportunity to introduce yourselves, please do raise your hands and I'll come back to you. Remember, we'll just be introducing the cohort 2 successful applicants. I'm going to do a screen share on social media. I apologize. A gremlin slipped in, I guess, to the designers' computers because some names are incorrect. We will correct that before sending it through again. So let me just bring up cohort 2 and we can start meeting some of these individuals, and hopefully we end the session as planned just before 12 o'clock as well. Remember, entrepreneurs, switch your camera on if you can, and you have a minute to explain who you are, just a quick hello, and everyone can get to know a little bit about you as well. So when I call your names, you can switch your cameras on. Let me put this up. And hopefully this time around, we remember to take a group picture. We forgot to do that for one of our launches. So I'm going to see who's online. The first name that I have in terms of who's online and what I can see on the screen is Tabiso Masisi.
Hi, afternoon there. How are you?
Fine, and you, Tabiso?
I'm good, thank you. I'm Tabiso Masisi, the CEO and founder of Mahoma Waste Management. We provide waste solutions and waste management services throughout South Africa. Basically, we're based in Gauteng at the moment, and then, yeah, busy growing.
Well, welcome to the program, Tabiso. We look forward to getting to know you a lot better. Next, we have Kabiso Lombo from Fungatech.
Hello.
Hi,
I'm
Kaviso.
not sure if everyone can see me.
We can see you and we can hear you, and you're looking stunning on this Friday.
Thank you. So my name is Kabiso Lombo. I'm from the Eastern Cape, but currently living in Johannesburg. So whilst I was a UCT student, I saw how unsafe campus was in Cape Town in general. And from that, I then developed a panic button, which requires no connectivity to your cell phone. It alerts emergency response services by sending them a link of your location to come rescue you when you feel that you are in danger. So we specifically focus on women, particularly trying to eradicate gender-based violence, and we're on the extreme end being femicide and the high kidnapping rate and human trafficking, which happens in South Africa. Thank you.
That's amazing. Wonderful initiative. Let's move over to Katlego Ranso from Lofthoff Management Services. Katlego Ranso, I can't see your name. I'll call your name and give you a minute or two, and then I'll try and move on to the next one. There's something come through to the chat. Let me see if someone's having difficulty. Okay, no, that's just a comment. Okay, we're going to move over from Katlego. Maybe he stepped away from his computer for a few minutes. Navashni Rampasad from Iconics Engineering Solutions.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Nivashni Rampasad from Iconics Engineering Solutions. We actually trade a Smarty, which basically leverages off cloud solutions to provide IoT solutions in digital asset tracking, as well as anti-theft solution. And if you can see my video, I'm actually holding one of our devices that we provide for asset tracking. We basically put these products onto anything you want to track, from golf carts to some people use it for tracking on their kids for transport solutions. And basically you can sit at home in front of your computer and track your solutions. We use cloud solutions quite vigorously, and we're based in Gauteng, and we have some good traction in the market already. So looking forward to further growth and development with the IBM Business in a Box solutions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Navashni. Mika Sukla from Dala. That's a nice name.
Hi, everyone. Hope everyone's well. Hi, Jayshree.
Hello.
I am founder of Dala, which is a mobile-based technology platform, which essentially formalizes economic participation for informal traders and artisans. And the idea and purpose behind it is to uplift people and create a generational impact for traders and their communities and families. From what I've heard so far, I'm super excited about Business in a Box. Everything sounds so relevant and will be super helpful for our business as well. So looking forward to the cohort, looking forward to starting and getting to know everyone on the team as well.
Thank you so much for those positive comments, Mika. We look forward to having you as well. And now we move over to Kagiso Mataong from BBK Intellectual Infrastructure and Services.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Kagiso. We can hear you.
Okay. Firstly, I would like to thank you for giving us such a wonderful opportunity to introduce ourselves. My name is Kagiso Mataong. Our company specializes in ICT infrastructure and support services, providing cutting-edge solutions to the ever-changing business environment. BBK Services is a level BEE supplier and installation partner of choice, which was started in 2019, offering data and telecommunication solutions, indoor and outdoor wireless communications, backups, power suppliers, and services rendered, which includes our Microsoft solution partner devices and support and security and protection softwares. We aim to install and maintain all businesses in South Africa, and we take pride in our services across various industries that include design, installation, and management services for government and private sectors, big or small. So I'm looking forward to work with you guys, and thank you. Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Rukhadi. And we're now going to move over to Rukhadi Sabotsa. Rukhadi, I think.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, we can hear you now.
Okay. My name is Rukhadi Yolanda Sebotsa. I'm a founder of Billionaire Creative. We give communications and digital marketing solutions. We analyze data at real time. So basically what we do is we give solutions to corporates about digital solutions, about how to actually be on the loop about what is happening in the tech space and give them real solution in real time.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And now we're going to move over to Innocent Matlala from My Car Guide.
Hi, everyone. Can
Hi,
you hear me?
Innocent. Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Innocent Matlala.
Innocent, we can hear you. You can go ahead.
Oh, okay. My name is Innocent Matlala from Gauteng, Kempton Park, CEO of My Car Guide. We are a platform that will be actually hosting different service providers in the automotive industries to make it simple for customers to get what they're looking for in a short space of time. You don't have to go around looking for a certain product. What you will do is you will just go in the platform and you will have almost every service provider that you will be looking for. That's what we are actually offering.
Thank you so much for that, Innocent. And our last two entrepreneurs that are online is Moshlori Mashadeng from Digimo. We can't hear you. Unfortunately, you're very, very soft. Okay, unfortunately, we still can't hear you, but we can see you. So we're going to have to move over to the next participant. And then if you can just try and sort your sound out, I'll get back to you in the next few minutes, Moshlodi. And then finally, Tameka Mabata from Global Twist.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tameka Mabata, and I'm the founder of Global Twist. So Global Twist is basically an online learning platform that connects learners to tutors instantaneously. So it was basically something that was birthed from trying to help my sister with her homework. And then I realized that a lot of learners don't have that opportunity. They don't have people at home who are able to assist them when they get stuck with things like homework or preparing for exams. So basically our platform allows learners to request the tutor to assist them with something, and then the tutors basically respond and assist them on our platform immediately. So that's us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Jamaica. So let's try again, Mashlodi, if we can get your sound right. Oh, I'm sorry, we're not winning today with your sound settings. We'll have to get to know one another in our first session through the gap analysis, unfortunately. But thank you so much. Can I just see a show of hands if there's anyone that I haven't mentioned that has been informed that they are part of cohort 2, and then you're welcome to introduce yourselves as well. Okay. Nomuntu, I see there's Nomuntu.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nomuntu Ndlovu. I'm part of one of the founders of Antam Financial Solutions, a platform for staffers to actually conduct their meetings and actually save and invest money online. It's called Sakotech, and we're very excited to be part of the program. We can't wait to start.
Thank you so much for joining us. So that brings us to the end of today's session, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being part of the launch. You will be receiving an email from Sunil. If I look at our calendar, it's right in front of me. I can actually tell you when we're starting our first IBM Business in a Box session. It's on the 20th of January, which is a Wednesday. We would love to have you in the classroom if possible, but we'll keep in touch with you closer to the time so that we can just get to meet all of you. And for those of you that are outside of Gauteng, that's okay. You can join us remotely as well. But Sunil will be in touch with you with information that we may require from you for IBM reporting purposes, but also with a calendar of events as well as the modules and how they're structured. So reserve every Wednesday from the 20th of January for your IBM Business in a Box program. And normally the sessions are run from between 10 o'clock till 3 o'clock with an hour break in between. And sometimes we may just run it from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock or 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock. So we're very flexible, and we do understand some of you may not be available for some of the sessions. But as you heard from the alumni, in order to get the most out of these sessions, you have to try and put as much in as possible. This is an immersive journey. You'll also receive mentorship from technical and business experts, and we will do that once you've completed your gap analysis. It has been absolutely wonderful spending the morning with you. Please do have a blessed festive season. Be safe if you are traveling, and we are so looking forward to having you join the YIDI family with this program sponsored by IBM. And we look forward to your continued growth and success. Sunil will be setting up that WhatsApp group as well, so do start communicating with one another and with us. Thank you, everyone, and have a lovely, lovely afternoon further.